早晨。
Good morning, members. It is the appointed time and a quorum has been formed. I call to order the meeting of the subcommittee on matters relating to facilitating quick integration of new migrant talents into Hong Kong. This is our first meeting. First, appointment of a deputy chairman or vice chairman. Now, before the deadline, we have not received any suggestion for the deputy chairmanship. Now, I will invite the Secretariat to issue a notice inviting nomination for deputy chairmanship. And the deadline will be 5 p.m. on Wednesday, 19th of June. If there are more than one nominations, we will conduct an election in the next meeting. Any views on this? Mr. Chen Xiu-hong. Now, I think not all the members are present today. So can we conduct a vote right now? Or can we not do that because we need time to collect nominations? Thank you, Mr. Chen Xiu-hong. I will issue an invitation to nominate deputy chairman, and then next time we will decide on whether we will hold an election. Now, item 1, schedule of meetings and items for discussion. Now, we have issued a document concerning the terms of reference and the work plan, and there is an annex. There are 8 directions under the work plan, so I will invite members to comment on the work plan. Please press the button. Now, 5 members have pressed the button. They are Dr. Tan Yuehen, Mr. Tang Fei, Dr. Wendy Hong, Mr. Yim Kong, Mr. Rin Kong, Mr. Chen Xiu-hong. Dr. Tan Yuehen, please. Thank you, Chairman. I have no particular views, but I have some question about point 8 in the work plan. I would like to seek some clarification. Now, the need to develop new performance indicators, such as the contribution made by the new immigrant talents to the GDP, to numbers of taxpayers and new companies after a certain period of policy implementation, and the number of people issued with identity cards as an indicator. I don't think that quite works. So I think the objectives should be drafted more clearly. Thank you, Dr. Tang. Now, that is the government's wording. Now, Mr. Eric Chan said that the target for attracting new talents is 35,000 per year. At present, we have exceeded the KPI in terms of number of people issued with ID card significantly. So I think point 8 is about point 8's emphasis is on the second part, that is indicators like the contribution made by new talents to the growth in GDP and the numbers of taxpayers and new companies. Mr. Tang Fei. Thank you, Chairman. I have 2 suggestions. Now, my suggestions are more related to point 2, study the settlements of new migrant talents in Hong Kong. Now, there are rumors that a majority of the new talents who came under the top talents pass rather than the quality migrants scheme, they are not actually present in Hong Kong. It is just that their children are here for education. So that doesn't align with the policy intent of the government. So they will just come to apply for the visa and then they will go back. So I think we need to conduct a deeper investigation and research. How many people have actually come and how many of them are not present? without establishing a company in Hong Kong or just establish a shell company here. Now, when schools, when they take application from students, they need to tell the schools about the occupations of their parents, and just children don't lie. So we have to conduct more in-depth research on this. And I think the important thing is we have to remove unnecessary description. Now, I detest the idea of separating Hong Kongers into new Hong Kongers and old Hong Kongers. Now, we shouldn't make a distinction between the 150 new immigrants who come to Hong Kong every day under the one-way permits and then a top talent under the top talents pass. That would only cause a rift among the Hong Kongers. The ultimate goal is to encourage integration rather than creating unnecessary segregation. Thank you. I think we need to encourage swift integration, whether they are top talents or new immigrants under the one-way permit system. So I think objective should be discussing the settlement issues of new migrant talents who came to Hong Kong under top talents pass and how to help them. Thank you. Dr. Wendy Hong. Chairman, the top talents pass was implemented a year and a half ago. At that time, we were at a critical juncture when we desperately needed more talents. Now, 1.5 years on, we need to conduct a review. Now, our subcommittee is called Subcommittee on Matters Relating to Facilitating Quick Integration of New Migrant Talents into Hong Kong. But some applicants are not really looking to move to Hong Kong. They just want to get the benefits. We have to admit there are these people. So we have attracted so many top talents exceeding our KPI. So maybe it is time to find the possible loophole. Now, are we welcoming talents above a certain age? And for certain industries where we don't have a manpower shortage, if the relevant talents come, will they be able to find a job in the industry? So we have to plug the loophole. Thank you, Dr. Wendy Hong. I agree. We need to conduct a review a year and a half on how to optimize the scheme and assess the contribution of this scheme to our economy. And I agree that for those who are not looking to contribute to Hong Kong's economy, who are just coming here, with the mindset that they don't want to lose out, we need to plug the loopholes and we need to facilitate integration for those who are really looking to settle here. Mr. Yim Kong. Thank you, Chairman. I suggest we add one more item for discussion, that is the standard of the top talents. Now, the criteria now is that as long as they are undergraduates from top 100 universities, then they are allowed to come. Now, for some universities, they haven't made into the top 100 list yet. However, the discipline of the subject is one of the best in the country or even in the world. So for these undergraduates or graduates from these prestigious subjects, maybe we should adjust the rules and make them eligible for the Top Talent Pass scheme. So I think that would be a more targeted approach than simply targeting the top 100 universities. Thank you, Mr. Yim Kong. Point 1 and 2 of the work plan. 1, review the implementation of the policy on promoting the admission of new migrant talents. And 2, the settlements of new migrant talents. I think these two objectives are relevant to your concern. Mr. Rin Kong. Thank you. I attach importance to points 1 and 2 under the work plan. This is about the implementation situation of the policy. Point 2 is also about reviewing the policy. We need to take a higher perspective. We need to optimize the assessment mechanism of the policy because that would have an impact on the effectiveness and the sustainability of the plan. Now, the labor market is fluid. We need to have a fluid and rolling assessment and monitoring mechanism. We need to make sure that talents working at various industries can adapt to the change in the economy. Now, our subcommittee is called Subcommittee on Matters Relating to Facilitating Quick Integration of New Migrant Talents. So we need to define what the term talents mean. Now, they can be talents coming under various talent schemes, and they can also be talents from the overseas. So we need to be accurate. And also, there is no mention of local talents. Now, to facilitate quick integration of new talents, we need to work with the local talents and the existing talents. Are there any potential conflicts between them? We need to resolve this. Thank you, Ms. Kong. Your points are valid. We're not just serving the top talents. We have to expand the scope of the word to all talents attracted under various schemes. For example, quality talents, quality talents, and also the TACTAS and also other talent schemes. We need to catch them all. And also we need to work with the local talents as well. Now, my concern is how can we promote interaction between new talents and our existing talents. So I will make sure to convey Mr. Rin Kong's points to the government. Mr. Chen Xiuhong. Thank you, Chairman. All the points mentioned by the previous members are valid. And a member mentioned point 8, the KPI. So I think the role of this subcommittee should be helping the government to set the right KPIs. The key is not the number of talents we have attracted via these schemes. The point is how many of them are actually staying and contributing to Hong Kong. So we need to conduct research and investigation and also talk to the new talents and find out how they're doing. Now, I agree with Mr. Rin Kong. By the end of May, more than 300,000 applications were received under various schemes. 119,000 applications were processed and 120,000 applications were approved. So when we talk about talents, we are talking about talents who can make a contribution to Hong Kong and those who think Hong Kong has a prospect, a future for them in terms of career pursuits and education. So we are talking about this group of talents. As President Xi said, Hong Kong should stay connected with the international community under one country, two systems. Now, looking at the figure, 90% of the talents attracted are talents from the mainland. Yes, they are important because we need them. However, what about the international community? We need to make a bigger effort in attracting international talents. Now, the government would conduct an analysis on the background of the talents regularly. So this subcommittee should ask the question how we are doing in terms of international talents. Are there constraints or objective circumstances which make Hong Kong less attractive to the international community? So I think this should be our focus. The last point. Now, there is another subcommittee on matters relating to population policy. Now, they have a very similar portfolio with us. That subcommittee would study the government's population policy. So we are closely connected. We need to integrate the population policy and the talents policy together. So maybe we can consider conducting a joint meeting with that subcommittee. We should have some interactions with them.
Chairman, there are different associations in Hong Kong. Chairman, I know you run an association with Ms. Carmen Khan, and that's the Hong Kong Top Talent Services Association. There are also other such bodies. If needed, can we talk to those bodies? We interact with those bodies. And then we can find a way to help achieve the quick integration of new talent into Hong Kong. Thank you. Now, first, it's about the retention rate, and second, we have to create opportunities for having face-to-face interactions with the new talent. There was also a point about having this internationalized outlook, a point also raised by Mr. Rincon. We need diverse talent. This is also a point we will be discussing. And there was a point about having more interactions with another subcommittee. Population, manpower, talent, we need to look at these factors. Now we can talk to that subcommittee as well. 4 more members will speak for the first round. Mr. Tang Fei would like to speak for the second round. Let's start with Mr. Ambrose Lam. Chairman, it's about the wording. And it's in our terms of reference and make recommendations in respect of comprehensive livelihood protection system. That sounds like social welfare to me. Can we do some edits? I note Mr. Lam's comment. I will look into this with the Secretariat. Mr. Kwok Wai-keung. Thank you, Chairman. I agree with Mr. Tang Fei and Dr. Wendy Hong on their concerns. Now, for the talent admission schemes, have there been abuses by certain individuals, or has there been misuse of the schemes? We need to look into that. We attract talent to grow our economy and create more jobs for the local population. So we support this broad direction. The possible abuse aside, we also want to look at the impact on local talent. We are drawing more outside talent than expected. Is that good or bad? When we bring in such a large number of outside talent, doesn't that also mean fierce competition for the new migrant talent? And that makes it hard for those people to land a job that fits their credentials. And also, is there a way for us to tally the figures on the fields that the new talent takes an interest in? Are those areas in line with our future development? We should be doing some matching. We should look into this. We want to make sure our talent policies are targeted and effective. Thank you. I note your comment, especially about our future development and whether the talent that comes here is the kind needed for new industrialization. Mr. Porter. Chairman, I don't see any major issues with the terms of reference. It's about talent. Our work plan consists of 2 tiers. 1, 2, 3, 8, no reference to the top talent. But 4, 5, 6, 7, there are references to top talent. It's talent. We shouldn't be distinguishing between top talent and the non-top talent. Is that distinction really necessary? Those classed as non-top talent won't be happy. I would just like to bring this to attention. I know our secretariat will try to make changes after noting the comment, so you don't have to repeat my suggestions. Thank you. Ms. Carmen Khan. 3 other members who are also lawyers made comments about the wording. Indeed, this subcommittee is about new migrant talent to Hong Kong. Can we define the scope of this kind of talent? Of course, this is to tie in with the government's policy. Now, there's a new capital entrance scheme. The focus of that scheme is on capital. So does that fall outside our scope? We should look into this. So we have to be clear about the scope. Say we leave out the new capital investment entrance scheme. Or do we leave out the labor import schemes? We have to get the scope clear. Now I turn to my second point. Point 8 under the work plan. This is about measuring the success of our schemes. As other members argued, are there abuses? So let's look at the key performance indicators. The government mentioned $34 billion in revenue. So how do we measure that success? We should look beyond just the number who get their ID cards. So can we work at this subcommittee towards more indicators? Can we have indicators in future policy addresses and budget that are clearer based on the work of this subcommittee? Now we look at reasons that deter people from coming here, and that may involve scams and other factors. Factors unfavorable to the admission of high-level talent to Hong Kong. Scams are one factor. We should also talk to potential talent. Let's also talk to employers or other parties who need talent. Do these people struggle with certain issues that prevent these people from accessing the talent they need? Say housing can be a problem. The talent that comes here may want not just an ID card. the employers may also be struggling to bring talent here. Let's look at factors that deter talent from coming here. Of course, we should look at fraud, but we should look beyond that as well. Let's take a broader view. As Mr. Chen Xihong said, can we also find out from associations working for talent, can we find out what those struggles are? So there were 3 points. First, we want to define the scope of what we are talking about by new migrant talent. The government has many schemes. Different policy bureaus are looking at these measures. So this will involve more than a single policy bureau. And we will have to get our scope clear. Now, on the KPIs, I agree with the member. The government proposed $34 billion in revenue and 1.2% boost to the GDP. We have to keep an eye on whether we hit that target. Now, in June, we will see the deadline for those filing their tax returns electronically. We will look at how many taxpayers there are among the new talent. And now, I turn to job matching. Does the new talent manage to land the jobs they want? We have to look at that too. Now we turn to Mr. Lam Chun-sing, who will speak for the first round, and then Mr. Tang Fei will speak for the second round. Chairman, I want to discuss the scope and definition of talent. So, are we just focusing on top talent pass scheme? So let's also include talent from other streams. One area top of mind for me is the IANG's graduates or immigration arrangements for non-local graduates. Some may not see them as talent, but they may be our future workers. We want to turn Hong Kong into an international education hub. If non-local graduates land a good job and get ahead here, that can help attract bright minds from the mainland and overseas for studies here. So let's find out about the employment support for students under the IANG scheme and also the impact on local graduates. So I hope we can also cover that scheme at this subcommittee's work. I had to declare that I am the founding chairman of the Hong Kong Top Talent Services Association. Now, this subcommittee is on new migrant talent. This will cover more than just the top talent pass scheme. Our work will cover the other talent admission schemes of the government. Before we had this meeting, I talked to the talent service associations for different admission schemes. I talked to them so that we will stay in touch about what this subcommittee does in the future. Now, on the IANG, we will talk to the relevant policy bureaus to cover that scheme as well. This will involve more than a single bureau. So we have to talk to several bureaus before we can reply to Mr. Lam Chun-sing about that. Now, Mr. Michael Lee will also speak for the first round. Chairman, one thing that's top of mind for everyone here is to attract more talent to Hong Kong. We want talent to put down roots here and start families here. Our government has a policy to work with the rest of the Greater Bay Area. We want links, interactions of talent within the GBA. So on GBA talent and labor demand, can we also discuss those points here? Can we talk about VPAT, vocational and professional education and training? Can we look at ways to facilitate movement within the GBA as well? Thank you.
Thank you. Now I announce extension of the meeting by 5 minutes so that Mr. Tang Fei can also put forward his views. Now I have jotted down Mr. Lee's suggestions. The suggestion is about how to optimize the supporting package to support integration of new talents. Mr. Tang Fei, thank you. As Mr. Lam Chun Sing said, overseas or mainland students in Hong Kong, should we conduct a discussion on the integration or retention of these students in Hong Kong? According to surveys, less than 30% of these overseas or mainland students in Hong Kong would stay in Hong Kong. The remaining would be pursuing education elsewhere or return to the mainland. Now, besides the traditional talents in the conventional industries like I&T and financial services and so on, education industry, the talents in education industry. Now, we have established an association for mainland teachers in Hong Kong. It covers mainland teachers in primary, secondary, and the post-secondary educational sectors. Now, I hope the subcommittee would meet with these the deputies of these associations as well. Thank you. If any member thinks we need to meet with the representatives from various associations, I will invite the secretariats to help us. Now, after the deputy chairman is elected, I will meet with the government officials together with the vice chairman to set a work plan and a meeting schedule. The secretariat will notify members of the meeting schedule in due course. Now, next, members, do we need to invite public submissions on the topic? If necessary, we can publish a notice on the electrical website and invite public submissions from the district councils and also members of the public, or conduct a public hearing. And the secretariat will refer the written submissions to the government officials and invite a consolidated reply. Now, some members mentioned the wish to have more interaction with the public. So written submission is a must, and then we will consider whether public hearing is also needed. AOB, any suggestion for AOB? If not, thank you. The meeting is adjourned.